Okay, thanks for being patient. I appreciate you guys paying attention here about making a three-dimensional cake form. So to start off with, hopefully this is what you have. I'm going to make my frosting color to start off with, and you guys already hopefully have this cylinder going on. Right, the cylinder of the top of your cake, sides of your cake, right? And you copied the smile part of the top of your oval to make a rounded bottom shape too. And then to make your plate, hopefully, I should move my water just a little bit. To make your plate, you copied that smile curve again, only you made it bigger. And you made it come back in behind the cylinder of your cake to look like your cake is sitting on the plate. Looks a little bit like Abraham Lincoln's hat, right? And then we talked about how to cut a slice out of it. Heath, are you with me? Thanks. How to cut a slice out of it. So we put a dot in the middle of it, and we made a line that goes, so we take that wedge out, and then we make two verticals to show where I cut it with a knife. Now the tricky part is that this line where the bottom of the cake shows in here is parallel with this. That's going to make a lot of difference in getting your cake looking right. Now if I was drawing this with a pencil, I would erase right here and erase right here, but I'm not. I'm doing it with paint. So now I'm going to get all my frosting on the same color. This is what I was hoping that you guys would do last week. And I'm not being stingy with my paint. Right now my paint's kind of sticky and it's taking a lot of paint, but that's okay. If I felt the need, I could put a little bit of water with it so that it would flow a little bit more. But Wayne Thiebaud painted with thick paint too. Really thick paint. Okay, so that's pretty much good now. So now I know that I want the top part of my paint, of my cake, to be the lightest part of my painting. I already know that the light is going to be coming down from the top because that's just what light does. I have a little bit of too much pink paint in my brush, so I can, rather than taking the time to wash it, I can just do this and get most of it out because I'm going to put it back in the pink paint a little bit. I just want some of it to be gone out of there. So now I'm going to take some white. Now you could put the white in your palette and mix it together with a little bit of pink in there to get the exact color that you want. I much prefer to just do it right on the paper because see how the paint kind of comes up, especially when it's not all the way quite dry. It just comes in and sort of mixes with that naturally. And by the amount of white I get and how much I mix it, I can control how light that area is. If I mix it a whole lot, mix, 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 my white will get kind of lost. But that's okay, I can just go get some more. Okay, so now if I like that kind of thick and thin edge and that kind of streakiness, I can leave it like that. Or if it really, really bugs me, I can once again kind of clean my brush out and then very lightly kind of smooth and blend that a little bit so that it's not quite so, if it bugs me. Honestly, it doesn't bug me, I kind of like it. But if you want to smooth it, you can. I am going to leave those edges though because that makes it look kind of shiny to me. Okay, so now I've got the top light, and that's a good start on my cylinder looking round. Now I want to talk a little bit about this part of it. So I'm going to decide that the lightest area is going to be maybe like right in here, and the darker area is going to be here. This is going to be my cast shadow back out here. So I might take just a tiny bit once again, and I might make of white and make a light area on the front of my cake to look a little bit like maybe sort of a glare, you know, like this is going to help it look kind of shiny. See how I'm sort of blending that in? Okay, hey, it's already starting to look round. Now I need some shadowing, and I have this blue. if I just grab that blue and put it on here, it will be so strong, it will overwhelm it, and I'll have a hard time getting it mixed in. So I'm going to take my frosting color and put a little bit of frosting color in one of the holes in my palette. And then I have a little more control. I can take a microscopic dip of blue and put it in with there and see what I come up with. Oh, that wasn't anywhere near enough. I need more. Yeah, let's try that out. So I'm going to put it right along the very, very outside edge here like this. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now I can kind of use my brush to lightly drag that across. See how I ran out of paint on this side and I turned it over and I'm using the paint on the other side now? Ooh, I'm liking it. It's still a little bit light though. So I think that before I go too much further, I'm going to darken it. Now I want to darken just the very, very, very way back here part. So I'm going to add some paint. Whoa, that seems like a lot. I think I better get the extra out of my brush. Now I'm going to start dragging it. Oh yeah, cool. This one too. I think I probably better put that a little closer to the edge. Okay, so I kind of like that. Now, what happens if you get out of control? Oh no! I put a whole bunch of really dark blue on there, and I didn't really mean to. Well, first off, take care of your brush and get your brush clean. And if you want to, you can kind of even scoop some of it away. But then you can just take some of your regular frosting color back and blend that back in and be right back where you were before. And if it gets all kind of jaggedy and you don't like it, use a clean brush. You know, almost everything's fixable. If you really, really, really mess it up and you're really freaking out, let it dry and then come back because you can always cover it. But see, that was pretty easy to recover from. Okay, so now I got to get my plate. Kids always want to know what color they should make their plate, and most of the Wayne Thiebaud's plates were white. It's up to you. It just needs to be a light enough color that you can add a shadow to it. I'm going to wash my brush really good before I make my plate because I know that the littlest bit of pink or blue that's in my brush is going to make my plate not white. And I really want my plate to be white. So I'm going to get my brush good and clean, blot out the extra water. Okay. This looks like kind of a boring part. And it kind of is a little bit, but it lets me get the edges of my cake nice and straight. And the other thing that it's going to let me do is it's going to let me work in here and show where that, see, I can cover that line up that I would have erased if it would have been a pencil line. And that lets it show that the cake, where that piece of cake is gone, it's exposing that part of the plate. See how that works, kind of? Okay, so now, got my cake, got my plate. The only thing left to do now is cast shadow. So, well, actually, when you do this inside part of it, you could do that any color that you want. Just make sure that the place where you make your frosting line inside of there is parallel to this angle. See that sort of? Wow, I got a little weird on the shape of my plate, didn't I? I might need to work on that some. It seems like it's a little deep right here. But the other thing that I wanted to show you now, again with my blue, it's handy that I've got my blue here because I can take some white in another part of my palette and mix myself up a whitish blue now to be a shadow on my plate. And I want that shadow to start from right over here in my shady part and go away from me. So that's going to be the shadow there. And I'm also going to have a little bit of shadow in here because it's likely that the cake will be kind of shading the inside part. See how that really just kind of completes the illusion? Now with a clean brush, I could feather that edge a little bit. By feather, I just mean soften. But I'm going to leave that a hard edge. Ta-da! Cake! What do you think? Ask me your question, Megan.
So, your paint was wet when you did the top and shaded the side. Our cakes are dry.
Correct. It'll just act a little bit different.
So we
You'll
should just
you'll want to have your same frosting color that you had before and use that to blend and extend. But once you get going on it, it'll kind of end up being wet again. You know, one last thing that I noticed one of my other classes was having a hard time with is if your cake is up on a pedestal, if you've got the, like, say you have this going on, some kids have made their cake on something. Like as if that wasn't just a plate, it was like a holder-upper kind of a thing. Right? Are you with me there? If you have this all be exactly the same color, there won't be an illusion of this sticking out farther than that. See how that didn't work? I messed it up like that. So the way to fix it is, again, just with whatever shadow you decide you're going to use on your plate, put that here. And it will push that back so it looks like it's underneath. See how that worked? We probably actually have a cast shadow on this too. Ooh. Yay, I love painting. Okay, so I will tape that up, and thank you for being good listeners, and I hope you enjoyed my little cake demonstration.